crying out Abba, and we talked about this in the Bible study, crying out Abba, when the scriptures talk about crying out Father, crying out Abba, it's not just talking about a one-time occurrence. It's not talking about like say the magic prayer so you can not go to hell and you can go to heaven. That's not the only thing that it's talking about. It's talking about God bringing something forth in your heart where who he is and the life he has in himself is exalted in your sight, and you are continuously refreshed by his presence. Because I promise you, as you walk through this world, do you know, we're all old enough to know this. Is there ever a day goes by where you don't need something? Is there ever a day go by where you don't need strength? You don't need comfort? You don't need peace? That you don't need love? That you don't need joy? Well, crying forth Abba is something that God brings forth in you where you are continuously engaging with the Father because you see him there and you see his life there and you see he's the Father that you need, meaning you see all the nutrients you need for life, all the things, all the strength you need, all the peace you need, all the love you need, all the joy you need. You see it's there in him, and you see he's given himself to you to provide that, and you end up engaging with him. You get caught up in this intimacy with him. That's what crying out Abba is talking about. It's a continuous intimacy where you're continuously caught up with the Father. That when you find yourself feeling weak, something happens inside of yourself where you're looking to the Father because you're seeing the Father lifted up in your sight, and you're seeing his life lifted up in your sight, and you're seeing the strength that you need is found in him. It's found in his life. And so now you're connecting with him and you're talking with him about his life. That's what it means to cry out Abba. It means for you to be engaging with him on account of you seeing that he's the Father that you need. I'm not giving you some law to work. Engage with God. I'm declaring to you the Father, so that in you seeing the Father, and then and seeing the life he has in himself is everything that you need, you'll be caught up in that with him. 1 John says it this way, that truly our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ. And we desire for you to have that same fellowship. Well, what John is saying there is we've been caught up into this communion with the Father through the word of life that is Jesus Christ. We've been caught up into a communion with the Father where we've partaken of the Father's body himself. And what's happened in this fellowship is now we're walking in this world and we're beholding the life the Father has that he has given us in his Son. And what's going on as we walk in this world is we're in this continuous fellowship with the Father that's centered around the life he's given us in his Son. And we're caught up with the childlikeness, with the wonderment, with an amazement about this life that the Father has in himself. We're in wonderment and awe because this life can even make dead bones live. This life can even overcome sin and death in the flesh. This life can make everything that's crooked straight. This life can make things that are broken whole. This life can make things that are weak strong. This life can make things that had moth and rust on them no longer be able to be corrupted by moth and rust. This life is a sinless life that can't be corrupted by the tribulation and the death that's in this world. And now we're in awe of this life. And now our lives, our fellowship with the Father is us walking through this earth, caught up in a conversation with the Father about the life he has in himself and what it means that he's made us partakers with him in this life. What does it mean for me? There's strength for me in this life. And so now I'm talking with the Father about how the strength I need is in his life. I'm not beholding the weakness in my flesh, thinking that I don't have the strength I need because my flesh is weak. I'm not beholding the darkness and corruption in the earth, thinking I don't have what I need because of the darkness and the corruption in the earth. I'm beholding the life that's in God, that he's given me in his Son Jesus. And now I'm talking with the Father about that life and what that life means to me even while I'm in this earthen vessel. And I promise you, it refreshes you with the presence of the Lord. Receive ye strength in the name of Jesus. Be ye made whole in the name of Jesus is what this life will do inside of you. It will call forth healing inside of you. It make dead bones live. Son of man, can these bones live? That's really the fellowship with the Father. Jesus said the Father has life in himself. And he was given that I would have that same life in myself. Jesus goes on to say, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Brothers and sisters, the Father has a life in himself that superabounds over everything in this world, that fills all things, that supplies all things, that makes all the waste places saturated with life. Man, that's the life he's given us, right? And the law he writes on our hearts is to draw us to himself so we can start fellowshipping with him around this life. And we can start finding ourselves strengthened with that life. And we can start finding ourselves satisfied by that life. And we can start walking around in the world with the life of God as the power behind our life. Right?